What's up guys? Today I'm here to talk to you about Deadrop and Midnight Society. You know, I've been reading a lot of tweets and seeing a lot of YouTube videos, and it seems like there's a lot of misconceptions about Deadrop and what it currently is and what it's going to turn out to be. So I kind of want to just talk about that a little bit. And it seems like everywhere you turn there's just a lot of hate on this game right now. This is the first time that we have ever seen this in the gaming industry. So us founders, we have access to the game until release. You gotta think about a couple of these AAA shooters that have came out in the last year. Halo came out, it was incomplete. Battlefield 2042, it came out, it was incomplete. That's like going out to your favorite restaurant, sitting down, paying for a full entree when only maybe you got the sides. You didn't even get the meat. What Midnight Society is doing is crazy, man. They're saying, hey, you want to come back to the kitchen and see how it's made? You want to taste test it? We've never seen that before. You know, I hate it for the devs that are working on it right now. I hate it for Doc because no matter what they do, right or wrong, it's going to be scrutinized. And back at the LA event, it really didn't seem like that fazed them any, but it still sucks, man. People are just ignorant, dumb, and just want to hate for no reason. So anyway, I went through Rob Bowling's Twitter. I know he was tweeting out some answers that I don't think a lot of people have seen, and a lot of his information really hasn't gotten retweeted or replied to, so I think it's good to kind of shine a spotlight on what he's been talking about on Twitter. Maybe give some clarity on some of the things about Deadrop that maybe you don't know about, maybe you got a friend that doesn't know about. This is straight from the horse's mouth. So I've got his tweets pulled up here and I've got some notes that I just kind of want to go through. So first off, nobody really knows what this game is about. What is Deadrop? Rob Bowling says it's a vertical extraction shooter which combines the map design of arena shooter with the large scale and player counts of a battle royale with some element of last man standing, but with the session-to-session persistence and ability to extract early. I think mainly this is an extraction-based shooter, so think Escape from Tarkov, The Cycle, that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a large player count. I think they've already confirmed that. Instead of having less than 20 people on a server like Tarkov or The Cycle, you're going to have upwards of maybe 100 people in this tower at once. And when he refers to arena shooter, map design of arena shooter, sorry, maybe it's just my background, but I hear arena shooter and I hear Halo. I know Doc is a big fan of the map designs from Halo, so hopefully we get a little bit of that in there. So if there's a lot of Halo influence in there, I'm gonna love it. So the next tweet with the PvPvE element is the thought that you are gonna have bots or rogue AI trying to stop you with turrets, etc. while you're fending off other players. And he replies, there are AI in the refiner state that we are currently calling cleaners. They work for the tower and are considered hostile to all players. That was kind of talked about in our variant guide that we got from LA. In Doc's last video, he kind of mentioned that there was going to be some kind of AI scary event. I think he related it to the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze. I think it's going to be a lot like that, which is really interesting. I don't know if you'll be able to, you know, stop that extraction and be able to loot them or what that is. So that's pretty exciting to hear about. Next up, we got somebody that asked, does it have aim assist? Because aim assist is for kids and ruins real competition for men. Okay, so Rob basically says here that right now it has 0 aim assist, and whenever they do add controller support, that it's not gonna have it when it's first introduced, but down the road they're gonna add it and evaluate from there. Here's a tweet that's asking about anti-cheat. Obviously, yes, that's something that they're gonna work through. I think honestly the anti-cheat for Warzone really ruined free-to-play games for me. I've experienced cheaters in Warzone, I've experienced cheaters in Halo, I've experienced cheaters in Fall Guys. If this game does go free to play, and from what I know they haven't confirmed either way, I hope that they figure out a way to deal with these cheaters in these free to play games. It's awful. Up next we got a question, will this also be on next gen console or only PC? And then Rob says, yes, we will be releasing on Xbox and PlayStation in addition to PC. So sweet and short, yes, it is coming to console. Will controller and mouse and keyboard be balanced fairly? Yes, based on player feedback. We're focused on PC first, but we will be introducing full controller support by the second snapshot. So by their schedule, every 6 weeks we get a snapshot. That second snapshot is supposed to fall on September 2nd. So look for controller support on the second snapshot. And then that leads me into, will this be a cross-platform game or PC only crossplay? The plan is to support PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. We'll be releasing snapshots on consoles as soon as they are at a point that they can pass console certification. So the plan is going forward to have crossplay, and it's 2022. Crossplay should be on every single game as far as I'm concerned. That's my thoughts. Why is the game so clunky? Gameplay feels like a mobile game. The animations are janky and ADS is weird. When's the release window? So Rob clarifies something here that I had not heard before. Deadrop has been in development for 5 months with 0 animators. I don't know much about game development. I'm not a game developer, but I am a gamer. And I have played games that came unfinished too many times before that have been in development for over years of time. I'm talking years, man. 5 months of development, and that's where they're at already. To me, I'm impressed. I don't understand the way that people are thinking out there, thinking that this game should be fully released by now. It's been 5 months, man. 5 months is not a long time, man, and to have that big firing range like that, that's impressive. Will there be a survival feel to it, like drinking and eating for energy throughout the game? And then Rob goes on to say there are survival elements. For example, you can't starve to death, consumables that can assist you, increased healing speed when well fed. That's pretty cool. How deep or meaningful this is will be determined by player feedback. If it sucks, we'll cut it. So I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a second. In my opinion, I hope none of this is in the game. I don't like survival elements. I can't stand it. It feels like a chore. I don't want to worry about eating or drinking or putting my pants on. I don't care. That's too real life for me. You know what I mean? Let me shoot people in the face. Let me do my quests. Let me get some high tier loot. Let me look good while doing it. You know what I mean? And get out. I don't want to have to worry about all that. Just my opinion. What's the health system like? Also, will there be skills to level up like healing, strength, etc.? Rob goes on to say yes and yes. We want a consumable based healing system. No health regen. That's pretty big. That is more simplified than Tarkov. Thank God. Health pack size determines speed of, not type of healing. Man, I am so glad to hear that. I don't want to think about if I need a band-aid or a splint or a bandage, you know, depending on what the injury is. You know what? For all you milsim guys out there that want a realistic experience, not for me. Like I said, I just want to shoot people in the face. Will there be a lean function? Please tell me there will be a lean function. Rob says, noted, let's try it out. So Doc actually mentioned it in his last video. Quick and simple, I think it's coming. I think they've got all the intent in the world to put it in the game. And honestly, I would say we probably see that in the next couple of snapshots. Will there be live events? I'm talking change of weather, scenery, building collapsing, something that can change a player's way of surviving during a game session. Rob goes on to say, yes, this is a PvPvE experience. The E in that covers a lot of things, but one of these things is the environmental stuff that you're referring to. Each sector has its own theme and shutdown sequence, which triggers events like you mentioned: weather, threats, dangers, extreme conditions. One of the conversations that I had with the dev out in LA was about the sectors. He mentioned that different sectors would have their own identity. So you might have one sector that's maybe hospital, you might have one sector that's a warehouse, that sort of thing. Think about the different threats that could be in certain different areas. You know, think of a warehouse. Maybe they store chemicals, for example, and when you shoot them, things happen. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of their mindset going forward. This person says, can I turn down the graphics? Game FPS Tanks. Currently you can only choose between high and epic. You're seeing all these videos in Twitter and YouTube of people complaining about the FPS. Man, it's the first snapshot. Bro, give it some time. In future snapshots, we'll add lower settings as well as optimizing the build so it runs at higher frame rates without reducing those things. This is the first of many snapshots, obviously. So, very first snapshot, 5 months in development. It's gonna take some time to get this where it needs to be. I think everybody's looking at Midnight Society and they're just in game culture shock because they're used to devs not showing or saying a single thing until release. And this process is much different. This is the opposite of what we've been kind of tailored to. I think that's what makes this so special, and I think that's why we're gonna see Deadrop be so successful. Vipers asked, do we get proximity chat? And Rob says, we love proximity chat. Hey Rob, I hear you, man. I love it too. I hope it's in there. Doc has hinted at it plenty times. I think it's coming. I don't remember what they were replying to, but how will players navigate the tower? More discussions need to be had around that question. Rob goes on to say, verticality always applies on the macro level. So think about from sector to sector, that's where we're talking verticality. Within a micro level, a given sector can be close quarters or limited verticality. If that's what's right for an area, the tower as a whole represents that diversity of connected sectors. Again, let's talk about a sector. Let's say it's a hospital. Obviously, this hospital area will have limited verticality. You're not going to be zooming around, jumping 5 stories in the middle of a hospital sector. But now once you leave that sector and you need to go up to the next one or 20 floors up, there's going to be a lot of verticality there, a lot of moving. If you watched Doc's latest video about Deadrop, he mentioned that he wanted the movement fast but not too fast. I know movement is kind of relative depending on what game you play, so I don't really know what exactly he's going for there. But he also mentioned grabbing rails and swinging from them, sliding and jumping out windows, scaling the sides of the tower. I imagine that the movement, the verticality isn't going to be very clunky. I think it's going to be very smooth, very quick. Thurman Merman asks, where's the gameplay? PvP gameplay will be introduced in future snapshots. Step 1, lay the foundation of the pregame, introduce the weapon systems and movement system, and step 2 is start layering on PvP gameplay to those systems we're building openly and releasing the game in progress as we go. So obviously the first thing that they want to do is introduce the movement, introduce the gunplay mechanics, get the animations right, that sort of thing. They want us zooming around that firing range, grabbing onto rails, swinging, busting through windows, that sort of thing, before they introduce the PvP. It just makes sense, right? So it's just going to be a step-by-step process. Cold Money asks, will there be a day-night cycle or different weather patterns to vary the atmosphere of the map? Rob says, yes, we want to have diversity in weather, time of day, in both the player hideout and the tower itself. When in exterior sectors, we'll test it out in future snapshots and see how the variants like it, or if they want to prioritize it. I love the dark gritty tone that they're introducing. I love it, but I'm not gonna lie, I'd love to see the sun setting right through the windows. Got those nice rays coming through the blinds, you know, with the little dust particles. We're talking Unreal Engine 5. I know they can do it. Give me some sunrise and sunset vibes, Doc. I know you're thinking about it. But yeah, maybe it snows, maybe it's sunny, maybe it's dark, maybe it's cloudy, maybe it rains, maybe it's windy, you know, who knows? We'll just have to wait and see what they've got up their sleeve on that. So I know everybody's seen the term NFT shooter out there, and I'll be honest, I'm not in this for the NFTs. I don't really care about that side of things, but I feel like this is worth mentioning. This person asks, so wait, you guys are going to give out the same NFTs again and not let the 10K be exclusive? Rob says there are only ever 10K founders. They represent the first variants. Those variant designs will never be replicated and are exclusively unique. We will and have always said we'll approve additional variants in the future. However, those won't be founders. So let me simply say that 10,000 founders, we're the only variants right now. So we're kind of one and the same. He's saying that nobody will ever be this group of people. That 10,000 people, that's all you get. That's it. But this group, this variant group, is going to grow. I assume that means that you're going to be able to purchase one of these. Now, I don't know if that means that you're going to have access to the snapshots. I'm really not too sure. So it sounds like you'll be able to purchase an NFT. It'll be completely optional, but we'll just have to see if you've got access to the game or not. I'm not even going to read this person's questions because I really can't make it out what he's asking. And Rob doesn't either. But he goes on to say the player hideout with the firing ranges in the first snapshot represents your space while you'll invite your party, display your best loot, and then matchmake into the tower. The refiner state in the distance is where you fight PvP. So it sounds like you'll be able to invite other players to your hideout, check out each other's customization, look at the guns, all the fancy stuff you got on. And then from there, you'll be able to matchmake into the tower. So what kind of TTK are they aiming for? We'll be starting with an extremely short TTK, high speed, aggressive combat with very little room for failure. We can relax from there if variant feedback thinks it's too aggressive. So this is an interesting topic for me because I don't want to feel like that I'm deleted, but then again, I don't want to feel like it's Apex and I am just shooting you and shooting you and shooting you and shooting you and breaking your shield and shooting you and shooting you and shooting you and then finally killing you. That's my problem with Apex. It's just the TTK is just ridiculous. I hope they find a good competitive TTK to stick in the game. This guy asks, when does it release? Rob says, we're completely changing the way games are developed and released, so we won't have a traditional alpha, beta, gold milestone release. We're updating the public snapshot build every 6 weeks with major new features. We'll continue to do that until the community feels that it's done. So what I'm getting from him is that they don't really have a release date in mind, but what they're wanting us to do as founders and variants, they want us to say, hey man, you know what? It feels pretty complete. I think we're all in agreement. We're all nodding our heads yes, and it's time to release this bad boy. So what I picture is that they send out a survey. Do you feel that the game is complete? And if they get a lot of yeses, then I see an announcement coming after that and the game releasing a month, 2 months down the road from then. I don't know. This is so backwards to everything that we've ever known, so I'm pumped. Pro Reborn asks, when do you see the game in a year's time? Rob says, I see us at the 11th snapshot, which starts development on July 31st and finishes on September 8th. By then, there will be hundreds of thousands of variants. So again, 10,000 founders, lots and lots of variants. And the core loop of the game will be at a fully playable state. Final weapons, sectors, and polished features. So he's saying a year from now, the core loop of the game, the core features of the game will be complete. So don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that the game's coming out in a year. I think we'll have a pretty solid base of the game in a year. Paradox asks, what type of rewards will there be for continuously coming back to play the game day after day? What are some things that we can grind towards to keep the addiction alive? I know this is big for me. I love a grind in a game. I enjoy it so much. Back when I played Destiny 2, it was so fun to go into the raids and go after that high tier loot, that high tier customization. I love that. I love that grind in a game. So I'm pretty excited to see what Rob has to say. He says, weapon customization and loot is a core driver of gameplay replayability. Customizing your gear cosmetically and earning options to do that is key. Camos, skins, etc. Which cosmetics are in that rank loop is highly influenced by player feedback. So it sounds like we're gonna have some pretty sweet customization to look forward to, as well as some high tier loot. It's sounding better and better to me. And finally, where are the female characters? Rob says, we've just finished the first character model, which is the basis for the view model hands in the first snapshot, and the second character model is currently planned to be female based. I doubt it'll make it into the next snapshot though, but it's in development. I know when Halo Infinite came out, there was a lot of females on my Twitter feed that were pissed because there were no female Spartans. If I was a woman, I'd be pissed too. So maybe not the next snapshot, but here shortly down the road, we're gonna have females introduced into the game too, so that's gonna be pretty sweet. You're gonna have men shooting females in the face, females shooting men in the face. It's gonna be a good time. And that's it. I just felt like I needed to clear the air on some stuff. I needed to speak on behalf of Midnight Society and do my due diligence as a founder to try to clear the air a little bit. Try to mitigate some of that stupidity that you're reading out on Twitter and online. Like I said before, people just want to hate for no reason. They just want to be negative. Listen, it's easy to be negative. It's hard to be positive in this world. It's easy to hate on a group of people that's trying to do something that's really going to turn the gaming world upside down. And a little word of advice, and I'm not just talking gaming right now. I'm talking about through life. Don't be one of those people. Don't hate on people for trying stuff. Don't hate on people for trying new things and being creative. Anyway, that's my rant. I appreciate you watching the video. If you liked it, please like it. If you didn't, please dislike it, so it lets me know that you don't want to see this content, you want to see something else. And if you haven't subbed, please consider subbing. I appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one.